What's like a worst case scenario for someone to be presenting with? What are some of like the things where you go, yeah, we need an ambulance right away?
Now before we dive into this video, I got an announcement to make. I am going to be at Shambhala this year. I'm actually doing my very first ever meet and greet. So that means if you don't want to be interviewed, if you just want to meet me, between 12:30 and 2:30, I know I'm really late announcing this, at the tie dye booth. I love my freaking tie dye. I'm gonna be there for 2 hours doing a meet and greet. That means we're not gonna be filming anything, no interviews, just if you wanna come and say hello. So yeah, you can see here, I am preparing, got my desk going with all the gear that I gotta bring. Kind of packing light this year. I'm super excited. Anyway, let's launch this video and I hope you guys all enjoy and maybe I'll see you at Shambhala. Cheers.
I've been the medical director here for about 9 years now.
I wanted to ask you a few questions about some of the common issues you see people coming in with.
And so the things that we see commonly, obviously the usual heat illness, foot issues, big thing that we see a lot of. Ton, like, you know, people just long days, lots of dancing, lots of fun. Nausea, vomiting, like I explained, heat-related illness. Usual emergency presentations, which is kind of the hard stuff to manage for because we got to kind of equip like a regular hospital, but plus all the usual things that you'd see for a music festival. Definitely, you know, intoxication. So, you know, drug-related effects, some of them worse than others. And we try to equip people to be prepared, train them up.
What drugs do you think are causing the worst medical emergency effects at the festival?
I think it's a pretty even, to be honest, distribution. There's different kind of presentations. It's really more from our standpoint, it's less about the drugs and more about how they present clinically. Okay. So the things we'll see in the sort of higher realm of like people sicker, you know, passing out, you know, seizure, bit of agitation sometimes, anxiety.
Do you ask them what drug they took? Like what would be like a lead-up question? Like walk me through it. I walk in, I'm having seizures, I'm passing out. What would you do?
Well, we do like anybody do in a hospital, right? So yeah, you know, what's your name? Assess your level of consciousness, see how you're doing. You know, try to provide you a bit of a space. I think the important thing is give people a chance to sort of be themselves and not have judgment, which I think is an important thing for having people access and also self-report. Lots of festivals I work at elsewhere don't have the harm reduction stuff associated with them like this one's had forever. And really pioneers in that regard long before I was even here as a volunteer, as medical director. So I think you look at other places, people won't tell you what they're on, so you can ask people, but lots of places people aren't comfortable because there's a risk that's gonna turn into your ejection or that you're
write it on the medical report.
Yeah, you're gonna have some problem. It's gonna be attached to your name. It's gonna this, that. And I think what's really great about this place is people are pretty forthcoming about what they've used, right? If it's related, sometimes it's not related. Sometimes people are like, I've used X, Y, Z, and you know, it has nothing to do with it. They're just, you know, they're just like, it's maybe a bit of a background population that's already on a certain number of substances that also have the usual care needs of a hospital in a small city, right? And so the things I would ask you, you know, your usual, like, you know, what's your name, where are you from, you know, what happened today, how are you feeling, get your vitals. And I think we ask people what they've taken, and most of the time I think the literature shows that people are pretty reliable in terms of what they say, like they've done lots of investigation as to how much that correlates.
But they don't always know what they've taken because sometimes you're sold one drug and it's a different.
So that's a great point. So sometimes we have self-reported substances. Sometimes people come in, they'll say, hey, I used one thing or I used 3 things. We've got some good data that has a pretty good sense of by presentation, like what things might show up or might cause. You know, like one presentation versus another where drugs are related. But again, there's lots of things for totally unrelated to the drug you know, presentation. So they've got these other things, and they may or may not have anything to do with what they presented for. They might be secondary, like, you know, I drank some alcohol, and that might have related to how I twisted my ankle or broke my ankle, etc. But it's like they're often separate for a lot of folks too here.
What's like a worst case scenario for someone to be presenting with? What are some of like the things where you go like, yeah, we need an ambulance right away?
I think it depends on what you're capable of managing, right? So ambulance is really a reflection of what you can do here. And so
like with drug-related instances.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think so some things you can manage here. Like some things, if you're at a hospital, you just get monitored, you go home after. Sometimes you need more advanced care. You need to be sent to the ICU. You need other things, but that's pretty rare. And so here on average, I would say we send, probably like anywhere between 5 and 15 ambulances over a week. to the hospital for various things. And that's a real range of stuff. Again, I've done the data on this, and you add, Nelson, Castlegar Trail together population-wise, and the number of ambulances you would expect, if you get the data from the ambulance service, is a higher number per capita than what we consume here for our 25,000 people. So it's not, and I would argue this is a high-risk population. I mean, they're not older, right? So yeah, their chances of falling down and breaking a hip are lower, or a heart attack, but there's risk with being at a music festival.
A lot of people's fear, actually, you bring up an interesting thought in my mind, of taking drugs like say MDMA and then mixing with stimulants, etc., is heart issues. Do you get a lot of people with anxiety? They're scared they're having a heart attack, but they're really not. Does that commonly present?
I wouldn't say a lot, but I think it's definitely at one of the presentations. The mix of stuff is often hard to predict, like for individuals, what people are going to feel, what's going to be an adverse.
What would be like an alarming blood pressure to see?
I mean, it's the same as anywhere else, right? Like lower, high, right? And I think it's rare that I see like the vital signs here are generally everybody's young and healthy.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So even the drugs are not making that big a difference.
Recreational substances, and so there are some abnormalities, but it's not normally like wildly deranged stuff, right? And most people are sent back. Like we'll see 2,500 patient contacts here in a week, and maybe 700 or so on the main side, and the rest sort of minor, like wound care, foot stuff, bug bites, those kind of things.
Sounds like people are relatively responsible, even given this environment.
I'm really interested in some of the stuff that you do because you interact with the general population. I think it's really the piece that I don't see. Like I've got a selection bias. I see the people who have, I'll put it in quotes, bad outcome. So it's not necessarily a bad outcome, but they have a need. A lot of people are out here.
Highly anxious people, right? Like you're getting a select group. No?
I don't know if it's anxiety. What I mean is that if you take this whole population, right, and there's an amount of that population, I don't know what that number is, that's using drugs, right? And some of those, yeah, like if you take everybody here, they're a city, and as a percentage, X percent of those people are using something. Okay, I don't know what that percent is. It may be, I don't know the number, because I don't know what's out there. I see the people who are here.
Lots of ketamine.
Lots of everything, man. Yeah, honestly, lots of people. Sometimes people using like 2, 3, 4 substances. And so that happens. Lots of sober people too. So, I think what's interesting to me is the folks that don't have medical presentations. So what I think is really cool, you're out there speaking to people, is the folks that are in the gen pop, quote unquote, that aren't coming to medical, that are using safely. If you want to consider coming to medical as an unsafe thing or an unsafe outcome that's of interest, which I would argue it is, right? It's like
it's risk aversion.
Yeah, it's
better safe than sorry.
It's got some negative outcome, and I don't mean to say that in like some of them are minor things, some of them are big things, but generally speaking, the folks in this space that are using safely is what's the real interesting piece of me, because all the work that's done by all these services for the people that I never see. So I never meet them. I don't know who they are.
You're just seeing like this one tip of the iceberg, worst case scenario.
But I don't know if it's a tip of the iceberg. Is it a big part of the iceberg? Is it a tiny part of the iceberg? So that's what's super interesting, is this is a great environment in which we should be looking at the people that are using safely, which you don't need to talk to me for that. Right. You're talking to those people.
I talk to them all the time, yeah.
And that's what I think is super cool, is all those guys out there that are using safely, are they using safely because of stuff they're sharing with each other, because of the services that are provided here, because of the videos you do, because of the education stuff. And I think we don't really have a good sense.
Because they feel destigmatized is a big one. A lot of people don't use safely because they're afraid to talk about it. But when you remove the stigma, you can safely talk about it, feel not judged. Judgment and shame leads to unsafe use. I mean, you know that.
I totally agree. And I think what's cool here is we got a lot of practitioners who provide the service here in medical that work in regular places where a lot of people feel judged, a lot of people feel that stigma. And what's cool is some of those people come here and work and have a change of attitude because they have a different exposure. Or I can count myself among those people, because I came here in 2011 and I came from a big house, like a big trauma center in a big city, a big urban city. And I came here and it has an adjustment for it, because you start to see a segment that is in your population in an emergency department. But here it's like, it's a larger slice, and it's like you start to interact with those people in a different way. I think that's important, and it adjusts you. The other piece is the people who are already good at that kind of interaction, the non-judgmental stuff, that work here, that come here, that part of this community, or were a part of this community, growing up and became paramedics, doctors, you name it, flow through here, go back to their go back to their home stations, and when they hear somebody say something, they're able to say, hey, like, you know, you might have gone about this way, or hey, I don't know that helped your interaction with this person, kind of thing.
I love the community here because I've talked to the head of security. His name is just eluding me right now. I've talked to all you guys, and you have such a tight knit, just loving, caring community. You all seem to like really care about each other and all the people, which is amazing to see. Not all the festivals are like that.
No, I
A
agree.
lot of them are very capitalist, money based, and everyone's fucking drunk. Like, let's be real. It's nice that there's less drunk. There's still people drunk. My neighbors are drinking. Like, you know, you're still going to
For
see
sure.
drunk people,
Yeah.
but it is less.
Yeah.
It's less.
And I mean, I work other places, and it's hard to, like, this is a place where you feel safe as a practitioner too, which is interesting, right? Like, you know, to draw people, like we have 220 volunteers in here that are all giving 24 hours of their time in the summer as medical professionals to be here, right? It's huge. It's a huge value, and it's a huge expertise. And to attract that year after year, that people know about this place, know what it provides, knows the experience that you get from it is I think really like a testament to the interest of folks and the care for the community and the draw that this place has, right? And also the support network, which is you with a license as a medical professional don't want to just go in anywhere and provide services and put at risk. You feel like this is a place where everything that's been done is making things as safe as they can be and as protected as they can be. And you know, whether it's security protecting you or it's the patients being protected or your own liability in a, you know, in the middle of a valley trying to provide whatever care you're providing, you want to feel like you're doing a good job and that you're not putting your day job and your rest of your life at risk by being here, right?
That is what I wanted to ask you. What is your day job then when you're not at the festival?
So I train in emergency anesthesia. So I do emergency medicine up until a few years ago. I do full-time anesthesia now. I live in Shambhala, Quebec. I lived here when I first started. Yeah, I lived here when I first started, and then I met a girl from Quebec, moved out there, got married, have a family. But I keep my BC license just to do this. I come back just this 1 week a year in BC, and I run some awesome friends, some colleagues, some like.
Look forward to it.
I live it all year, man. We all do, right? Like the people in this place do.
I look forward to coming out here and just talking with everybody. I love talking to everybody.
And it's like I think it's got a great, like, I don't know, like underdog feel or whatever it is. It's got this like be yourself, support everybody, be posy, you know. And I don't know. It's like everybody. There's a lot of people that pounds in their heart in this place, and yeah, I'm there. I'm with that for sure. Amazing community, and cool to see you here. And
Thank you for the interview. You were great. That was good.
really good to meet you. Right on. Thank you. See you around. I think Kevin's like best, like he has a medical red shirt on his first year. He's a doctor.